What's going on, guys? Welcome back to our Let's Play here on the Amplified Console Edition. Now, as you can see behind me, I've done nothing yet whatsoever with this chandelier thing. I really am hoping on some sort of feedback as to what I can do up there. But today's project, I actually want to build something. Well, I've been messing about with it in my redstone test world quite a lot. And to actually explain it to you, I am actually going to have to take you over there. Because building it in my world, after I've built it, the redstone behind it's just going to be a bit of a mess. But as you can see, we've put a nether portal, which is ridiculously loud in my ears at the moment, into, and that's a message from Steak and Noodles. I will read that in a second, pal. Yeah, I've put a nether portal into our fortress so then we get about easier. Now, what I actually want to do is make a nether hub, and a nether hub not as in just portals to portals, but I actually want to make like a Nether Express hub and have an actual railway system that I can pick the destination that I want to go to. Will you go away, Steak? Otherwise, I'm going to turn off my notifications. Thank you. I actually want to be able to pick the stations of where I want to go and then set off and then come back to the same destination, which is going to be our main nether hub at this fortress portal. But yeah, it means I'm going to have to clear out quite a large area around here, and I'm not too sure how close. It shouldn't be too close, actually. I was getting a little bit worried of where our zombie sort of mobcat breaking farm is. I think that's just over here. Is it over here? Yeah, it's just over here. This is where we have all the zombies come in and fall down and whatnot. But I think that's far enough away for us to have more than enough room to clear out for what I actually want to be a fairly big build. And the resources that are going to go into it, because I actually want to do a railway line to... We've got our Iron Golem farm, we've got the Ice Spikes biome, we've got the End Portal, which is also... Enderman, did I look at him? Really? They can pick up Netherrack now? Why is that a thing? And there's a zombie pigman trying to take my minecart away. Just mobs griefing me today, or what? Yeah, so I want to do a railway line also to the end portal. We've got a railway line already running over to our Nether mob farm. So we're going to be linking that one up. And then we're going to have probably a railway line to... There's a portal just down the end there, which is our standard mob farm. And I think that is 5 stations. 5 stations is what I've managed to add on to the type of build that I want so far. Is that 5? You've got End Portal, Iron Farm, Ice Spike Biome, Nether Fortress, not Nether Fortress, Nether Mob Farm, Standard Mob Farm, and then the distance between this village portal and the fortress portal, there's not much reason adding a railway line to run this little distance. But yeah, what I'll do is I'll quickly hop over into my redstone test world and I'll show you the sort of design, how I want it to work. And it's going to require quite a lot of digging out from me. But yeah, I'll hop over there now. Alright then guys, now that we're over here in my redstone test world, and that's not the view, there we go, thank you. This is the station that I actually want to build. Now, it looks fairly nice and neat and organised now. This is around about 9 variations after how I wanted it to actually run. The return lines come in from each one of these, so it's going to have 5 stations. The first station is going to be directly forward, and then you're going to have station 2, station 3, station 4, station 5. But I don't think that's the way it's labelled up. I think station 5 is the first one, and then it's station 1, 2, 3, 4. But that's something that I can figure out, obviously, when it comes to labelling up the stations. But the way it works is using the comparator behind a... Oh my god, words today. Item frame, there we go. Comparator behind the item frame and then using the angle of the item inside the item frame gives out a different signal strength. And then that signal strength then decides on which line to turn you down to. So at the moment it's running on to station 4, which would be apparently this one. So I'm assuming that this one is station 5 and then that one is station 1. So we'll quickly just double check that first of all. We go to station 1, all of these should be facing the same way. Yep, so station 1's directly forward. Station 2 should be this one just here, and then that turns. And then we got station 3. So that one should change back, and then that one should turn, which is excellent. And then we've got station 4, which should be the next one. Yep. And then station 5 should be the very last turn off, which is that one. And the way that works is that the line of comparators keeps the signal strength the same that's being outputted by the actual item frame. Now you don't need the comparator line this long, it's just for the fact that initially I had the item frame set up there and my railway line set up here, and it was running into all my other redstone contraptions. So then I built it over there and just extended the comparator line. This is a way that you can extend the same signal output without adjusting it at all, just doing a line of comparators. Even if you use one bit of redstone dust, the redstone dust is still going to be the same output as you're receiving from the item frame. So the same output will be going into this one, which means it will continue the exact same signal strength. Now at the moment, you've got one bit of redstone dust at the moment being active, which means none of these things are active, which means that none of them are turning off, and that's our first station, which heads straight down, so it doesn't divert you at all. But then when you change it to, say, station 2, the signal strength will get a little bit stronger and it will activate this first line here. Sorry, bit of a frog in my throat. Now, as you can see, it runs through another comparator here, and I'll explain that when we get to the next station. So this one then runs through here, it will activate this rail to turn off in this direction, and then that is the direction you'll be heading. And then if we go to station 3, now the signal strength on the line will then extend to this next one. And the issue that I ran into here is that obviously that this line, the first one, would still be active, which is how comes we've got the comparator here. So then what we've done, we've run the second line into a repeater. It then runs into a second repeater facing into a comparator. Because the signal strength coming out of the repeater is stronger than the signal strength coming out of this repeater, because it goes by 2. So the signal strength coming in the back is only going to be, is it 15, 14 coming in the back, and then this one's going to be 15 coming in from the side, which means no signal will be outputted, which means this one will turn off, that rail will turn back to normal, and the next one will be activated. And then the same works for, why is there random bits of redstone that are not necessary? And you. Now, the same system works for the next 2 following stations. So you've got station 4, which will then turn off the next section. And then you've got station 5, which will turn off the next station. And then what happens is that these are sort of daisy chains. So the second one being active is still going to keep this next one off. The comparator is after that line there, which is then turned off by the following line. And then the comparator after this one will then be turned off from the following line here, if that makes sense. So you can get, I think it's a maximum of, I think it's 9. So you've got like a signal strength of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So a maximum of probably 8 different stations that you could probably line up into one system. But I tried doing 7 and it got insanely compact and complicated, that this little redstone circuit here, just to organize the first 4 stations, was when I went up to the 7, it was a ridiculous mess of redstone comparators and repeaters turning each other off. But the actual way that I've done it is an extremely simple method of being able to do it. But in order to do this, I'm going to have to dig out a massive area this big for the actual railway lines, and then a section big enough to fit the redstone in. Now, if you're wondering what this second line coming down and in, this is actually our return line here. So my plan is to actually have a dispenser with minecarts in. So you like stand on a pressure plate or something, or you press a button, you pick your destination, you hop in the minecart and you go there. And then on the way back, you come up here. This is the return line. You hit the cactus, it breaks the minecart hopper into the dispenser, this one, and then it's ready to be sent off again. Now, I tried about 100 different ways of having the return line coming back this same way. And I tried it having detector rails to turn the directions back. So each time you came up, but when you're in a minecart, it doesn't work. You actually beat the redstone signal going to each intersection. But if you send a minecart off by itself, it will work if you put detector rails just there, and there. And it will turn the tracks back enough for you to be able to send a minecart back on the same line. But when I was riding in the minecart after extensive testing doing this, yeah, it wasn't happening, and I tried about a billion different combinations of detector rails, and then having the detector rails a lot further back, and then having a redstone signal feed from the detector rails over into these repeaters to reactivate the lines to turn them, so then I could go back that way. And each time the minecart by itself will go slow enough to make it, but a player riding a minecart, yeah, it just goes way too quick. So I've made a separate return line, so it all turns off onto this separate line, which then runs underneath. Each one of these have a separate return line. Now obviously when you're coming down this way, you'll just go straight over this and straight onto your destination. Coming back, you'll turn off here, you'll come down here, you'll follow this little line here, and then you'll come up to our return section. Now, while building this, I was testing out a number of different things as well. The orientations of the tracks and the way that they will automatically snap. They will automatically always try to adjust to the positives rather than the negatives. So what I mean by that is that going forward there on the X, so forward that way is going to be our positive on the X, going back way is going to be our negative. So if we just do a line of track here, and then say we do a, which way is negative and positive on this way? Okay, so to our left on the Z is negative, and on the right is positive. So if we do a track here, now what should happen is that the two positive will connect. So it'll be that way and that way. So when we activate this one here, the intersection will turn going from this direction over to this direction and not the other way around, unless, what are you doing? There, make up your mind. Yeah, it will automatically go towards the positives. Let me just double check. Yeah, see, you can place it 100 times and it's always going to place towards the positives. So what we've got to make sure that we do when we're building it in our Nether is dig out a section and have the tracks facing to a positive direction. I actually had to turn this entire thing around before I figured that out, because all of these ones were snapping going the opposite way. So yeah, it wasn't working the way that I wanted it to work. So for it to actually snap this direction, I would have to power it, and yeah. So yeah, just another thing to keep in mind when I'm building it is that I've got to make sure that our initial track goes off to the positive, and then our split off tracks go off to the positives as well, just to make sure they all lines up and works properly. But I am going to go get cracking on it. I'm going to hop into my Nether, start digging out a ridiculously large chunk of it to start getting all of the tracks and redstone in place. So once I've made a little bit of progress in there, I'll bring you back with some night vision potions so you can actually see what's going on. And yeah, we'll take it from there. So see you back shortly. Alright guys, now we're back from our redstone test world, and I have been hard at work for probably a better part of the last 2 hours or so. I cleared out a massive area just at the other side of our Nether portal. Now this side was going in the positive, and then so was that side. So I actually had to bring it out through the back end of the portal, as opposed to heading that way towards where our other portal is, which is kind of a good thing actually, because it made sure that we didn't have any restrictions on the space. But let me drink a night vision potion so you can see what is going on. Now I've got all the initial tracks laid, and I've got the redstone circuitry, and I'm going to be using, again, forgotten words, item frames. There we go. There it is. I'm going to be using item frames rather than signs with the names as to the locations. And I'm just going to put an indicator as to which track goes where. So right at the end, I'll have an ender pearl. The Nether mob farm, I'll probably have a wither skull for the normal mob farm. Maybe some rotten flesh. The ice spike biome, probably some packed dice. And then our iron golem, I'll probably just have a piece of iron. And that will be our 5 destinations for now. But it means that I'm going to have to be running a lot of track. Now, the redstone circuitry was a lot simpler doing it the second time rather than having to figure it out. And it is very, very simple redstone. So it literally, the comparators, I just had to drag it along here just to give us a bit of breathing room between the track and where the redstone circuitry is, because otherwise it would have been coming out to about here, and then I wouldn't have had much room for doing any sort of cosmetic work, which I actually want to do. But yeah, so the redstone circuitry works the exact same way that I explained it. Each section locks off the section beforehand, and that runs all the way to the 4 different zones, and then the one with no signal, that one is one that just goes straight forward. So if we turn it to the first one, the track will change, that will light up, and all is happy days. Now I'm not going to run it through like I did in the redstone test world. Spin that all the way around, mess around with my redstone. Awesome. Now when I was building it, I did actually have a couple of ghasts spawn and sort of ruin my day a little bit. They blew up half a ton of the redstone after laying it down, and then when I killed him over here, I had another one at that exact point spawn over that side, shooting at me over here, which is how comes you've got the massive big holes over here. But yeah, apart from that, just the odd zombie pigman. I'm getting some wither skeletons spawn every now and again, but other than that, it's not too bad. Now, what I was thinking of doing at the sides of the track, and seriously, it's like pigmen everywhere. At the sides of the track, I was thinking about running some standard stone slabs going along. I think might look quite decent. So I've done my sort of patented. There we go. Words today are a struggle for me. That's poisonous potato, so I left there. It's fine. Yeah, I've done my sort of patented redstone and wiring all on just the same bricks, and I'll go a long way, just so I know what blocks, if I am to break any, not to be any of them. So all of our tracks are running on the stone bricks, which I think look fairly decent. And then we've got our return line obviously coming in underneath, and that all joins up with the other 4. And then that will run straight up to here, where we'll have our cactus and hopper to break and collect the minecarts, which will then send it to a dispenser on this side, which I'll have to automatically dispense the carts. But that's a little system that I'll put in place off camera. Now, we did want to try to see how, if we put some of these running along, we may have to actually raise that up by 1, which, yeah, it shouldn't be an issue. It will literally just be raising all of the comparators up by 1, and then this bit of redstone will just drop down to this bit of redstone. It won't lose any signal strength, so that wouldn't be a problem having to do that. I'm thinking about changing the wall behind as well. I'm not sure if I want stone bricks there. I think too much grey is not a good thing. If we just run these going along here, just to sort of cap off the tracks. If we have it like that, and then really, magma slimes now. You do something like that, coming up. That's one track coming in, and then I really don't want any of this netherrack sort of showing. So if we break that, because it's going down, if we just drop it by 2. And drop it by 2. Oh my god! Trying to work here, guys. Will you get lost? And great. Okay. Happy now? You're dead. And there's a zombie big one. Awesome. Okay, so we have it like that. Now, obviously, all this flooring around is going to be changed as well. But as a sort of starting point, let's get rid of them. We then want... Oh, I don't want to get rid of that much. Out by a couple. Out by a couple. And then we could bring these around and then send these off in their directions. Just to sort of like frame the actual tracks. We do something like that, and then we can actually bring these along. Just so it seems a little bit more structurally sound. So we're coming across that. I'm going to replace all of that nether rack, I think, with stone brick. Or do you think that I should do the stone slabs? See how stone slabs look. It looks better than the netherrack, but it's not like we're short on stone at all. Oh, really? Okay, sure, why not? I think having stone slabs there may be a little bit too much stone slabs. And maybe with this corner, not take it down with the track, but to actually just have it like capped off around the top. So if we put the nether rack back there, like so, and then maybe run that around. See how that looks. I don't know. I like it running along the main line in the middle. I think it may be a little bit too much to be doing it everywhere. Let's just see how it goes, shall we? Place some there. Then we're going to have them running along here. And then I'm going to be framing these little bridge bits. So, like that. And my night vision potion's fair enough. Obviously, we're going to have to get some lighting in here as well. Oh, and there it goes. Let me grab another one just so that you can see what I'm doing. Thank you. That's another thing on my list as well. We really need to get like a proper sort of brewing station in place, because the one I'm using at the moment is only doing like 3 potions at a time, which is I've got no food on me. That's not good. Let's get these back. Yeah, I'm starting to think the half slabs may be a little bit too much everywhere. Maybe just on the main lines, because now it just looks like a maze of half slabs. It doesn't even look like a railway track. Yeah, I think I'll get rid of the half slabs. Oh, I want to be getting rid of track. Oh. Okay, yeah, I'm going to get rid of probably the majority of the half slabs. I'm thinking that I may just keep the line going straight down the center, like the main line that it all comes off of. And then maybe the lines that branch off to the right, but not all the zigzags and doodallies. But we've got the main foundations in place for our new Nether Hub Express. And it's just going to be a case of me now wiring, or not really wiring, but running the tracks to all their destinations, which is going to be a lot of boring off-camera work that you lot ain't going to see. I keep on going into my inventory to look for food and there's none there. Oh my god. The struggles are real. Okay, let's look for some food. Food. And let's go with some steaks. Why not? They last a lot longer in saturation than the chicken does. But I'm trying to decide what other sort of block palette to use for our new Nether hub. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Now, we could go like ridiculously bright. We're definitely going to need lighting in here because the Nether always looks proper dull and cringy when you're not using night vision potions. But the lighting we can quite easily hide underneath the track if we really wanted to. Now, yeah, before I carry on with this, if you're watching this, if you've got any sort of input as to what type of sort of building scheme we should go with this Nether Hub Express, like all the redstone in place in between this episode and next episode, I am going to run the railway lines to their destinations, and I'm going to do the dispenser and cactus at each end of the railway lines. So all of that will be in place, but as opposed for the cosmetic sort of color palette or block palette, shall I say, to use in this area, like you've got a number of different options. We could go sort of like castle and fortressy with bricks and mossy cobblestone and stuff like that and make it look like a worn down railway line. Or we could go super modern with like white concrete and nether quartz. Or we could go dark and evil with nether brick and fire and lava. But yeah, let me know what you think on that because I'm a little bit stumped as to what direction to take this rail hub into. I'm definitely going to be getting rid of the majority of these half slabs now looking at them because it does really take away the impact from seeing the organisation of all the railway lines. So yeah, well, I'm going to get to that. I think that's going to do it for today, otherwise this episode's going to stretch on for a bit. Now, if you have got any input onto what sort of block palette or what sort of build style I should go for cosmetically in this area, then please let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you haven't, it's your first time channel, please consider subscribing for future Minecraft content, and I'll hopefully see you all in the next one. Oops. Uh-oh. Bye-bye.